Today we're exploring the exciting world of medical careers after graduation at Queen Mary Malta campus. To do that, I'm joined by two of our outstanding fifth-year students who will share their plans for the future, discuss how Queen Mary has influenced their journey into medicine, and some of the challenges they've overcome along the way.
I'm Sai Narimetla. I'm a final year medical student here at Queen Mary, based in Malta.
I'm Razan. I'm also a fifth-year medical student at Queen Mary Malta. I'm British and Palestinian, and I moved to Malta from New York, which is where I grew up.
That's awesome. Nice to meet you guys. I think we'll just dive straight into the topic if that's all right. You're both fifth years, you're about to take your exams and then graduate. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your plans for the future. And, do you have any particular institutions or paths in mind? How are you feeling about stepping out into the big wide world of work?
We're coming to the end of our fifth year with exams next month. We should start work in August, hopefully. And I will be entering the foundation program, I think most of us will, which is junior doctor training in the UK. So we've all applied to that and we're waiting to hear back about where in the UK we'll be placed.
Yeah, so short term, like Razan said, it's getting into the foundation program, wherever in the UK it is, that's 2 years, and then specialty training. I think I'm more interested in neurosurgery, so knowing what I want to get into, there's very good training programs in London. There's also great training programs outside London, Southampton, up north, Manchester, Newcastle. These are some great training programs for neurosurgery. But I do also want to pursue something along the lines of corporate finance advisory. I have a bit of a background in that. My family's in the finance industry as well. So kind of combining both healthcare and corporate advisory, that's something that I want to do.
Just for my next question, I sort of want to go back to the beginning of your time at Queen Mary and just ask you both how you feel that it's prepared you for the realities of being a doctor. Were there any standout moments or experiences that you think will be, especially useful for, your upcoming careers?
I personally think it's very well curated. They focus on things that apparently not a lot of other universities focus on, which gives us more time, more confidence in things like clinical skills, communication skills, and these actually give us then more confidence in the clinical setting when we're on placement to then ask for more opportunities, to do more things, ask more questions, and just follow the train of thought of the doctors.
Razan, I know you mentioned a kind of smaller community being the thing that you really liked about Queen Mary. Anything you wanted to add?
I think that's one of my favourite things. It's not what I expected when I was choosing my university to have such a small year group. We're around like 40 people. But I found it to be like really nice that you have so many familiar faces around, not only the students, but also the staff members. Most of them have been here since first year, so we've kind of had the same like teachers along the way. And yeah, just all the familiar faces, having such a small community makes it easier to learn from them. It also makes like lecture and class sizes a lot smaller, which I think it's an easier environment to learn in when there's fewer students.
If you imagine the people that are watching this video, they're probably prospective students, maybe some current students. So what kind of words of wisdom do you have for those people thinking about their careers as they move forward?
So in terms of advice, I'd say keep a record of everything that you do. Obviously, when you do stuff through uni, they will give you certificates and sort of stamps of, you've done this and stuff. So keep a record of that. That should go into your portfolio anyway. But anything extra that you do during the holidays, even in the wards, during placement time, if you do anything extra, keep a note of that, because that shows like track record and commitment over time. You may or may not know what you want to get into in the future, but all of these things, they do help with like, as I said, building the CV, expanding the portfolio. These could be anything from like research projects to just like asking to watch and observe surgeries. All of these things can show a greater time period.
Anything to add, Razan?
I didn't have a perfect idea of what I wanted to do in first year, and I still don't. So I think it's definitely important to kind of leave it open. And if you're unsure about what you want to do, that's completely fine as well. We still have, even after graduating, there's 2 years of general training anyways. So just kind of you have placement, you have like student selected components and different projects and societies. So you have a lot of time to kind of do different specialties and see whether you like them or not.
I wanted to ask you guys about the clinical component at Queen Mary Malta. I know that we've mentioned that the small cohort size means there's a great student to teacher ratio. How has the clinical side of the training at Queen Mary prepared you for future careers?
One of the great things is that the clinical teaching is the majority of our degree. So from third year, third, fourth, and fifth years are all in the hospital, basically. There's not so much like lecture teaching anymore. And it's also like fewer students attached to one doctor, which makes for a lot of like one-on-one teaching. And it means there's a lot more opportunities to do things in the hospital. Like if there's particular skills you want to practice, you're not up against like 10 students to try to do it. There's quite a small group and there's a number of doctors. Also, everyone here is very friendly and willing to help, which I'm sure it varies in every place, but just in general, I found people to be quite welcoming here, and they're not so busy that they don't have time to teach you or they're not willing to help you.
Pretty much the same experience, but just kind of expanding on what Razan said. I know that I've heard of some places in the UK where, because of obviously the increased workload for the NHS staff, they're just as willing to, but they just may not have enough time to teach the students. So they end up having to very often do their own thing and take learning into their own hands, which is great, of course, if you have that sort of drive and passion. But even if you do, having that direction and kind of, as you said, the mentor, it really, really helps.
We talked a little bit about the student selected components earlier, which I'd love to hear a bit more about them from you, but I think in essence they are a kind of specific module of study that you can pick and kind of tailor your course towards what you're interested in. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about those and how they have helped shape your career.
I think the student selected components are one of the best parts about our course, and I'm not sure that that's offered at every university, so that might be unique to Queen Mary as well. But so what I did in first year was a pediatrics SSC, which was a clinical placement, which was really useful to be on the wards from first year as well. And that was a good experience. And it was something, at the time, I didn't have an interest in pediatrics beforehand, but after it's definitely something I would consider doing, and I really enjoyed it. In second year, I did an anesthesia placement, which I also really enjoyed, and it kind of let me learn about a specialty I really didn't know much about, especially in second year. In fourth year, our SSC was our dissertation, which was a written piece. And I did that in adolescent mental health, which I really enjoyed. And I'm definitely interested in, again, pediatrics and also the mental health component. And this year I did my first one in geriatrics, which gave me a lot of practical experience. And it kind of also involved general medicine, which was really useful, especially with finals coming up. And my next SSC for fifth year, because we have 2 this year, will be in obstetrics and gynecology, which is my current kind of favorite subject.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the idea that you can go into a medical degree, not really know where you're specializing, find something you love, and then kind of build the course around that if you need to. Sai, what SSCs did you take? Was there anything that sort of stood out to you?
I think I've been more focused on neurosurgery from the beginning. So in first year, I did dissection. Second year, I did blood labs, pathology, and things. But fifth year is where it gets really interesting. It's given me time to sort of spend a month in neurosurgery in London, in UCLH. And I've also got another one lined up after exams in India, where I'm spending 3 weeks in cardiac surgery and then 3 weeks again in neurosurgery. But I really love that in SSCs, you can kind of pick what you want, and you really have so much flexibility in the specialty, in the location, and that's something that I think is very useful to us. It can help you either, if you don't know what you want to do, it can help you discover new things, or if you know what you want to do, it can help you kind of focus your portfolio.
I suppose just last question, is there anything else that you wanted to share about your medical journey at Queen Mary Malta? Any experiences or plans for the future? Something that maybe I haven't thought to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a very unique experience here at Queen Mary Malta. I mean, I had never even visited Malta before coming here, so it was all just full of like unexpected things and new experiences. And I really loved like all the friends I've made here, and the whole community here has been great. And it's a very international community, which I always really appreciated. I've really enjoyed my time here, and also just the country of Malta. It's so small, and we've all become so familiar with it, and it's been really nice.
What about you, Saya? Anything to add?
It was definitely an adventure that I didn't think I would end up taking. I'd never come to Malta either, but I just kind of wanted the challenge of sort of stepping outside my comfort zone, seeing what I can do in a place where I don't know anybody. Malta is a very warm country, both in the weather, but also the people. They're very nice. They're very warm. They're very almost comforting. So the challenge that I had was definitely, it was helped by the people here. So I think it's an incredible learning opportunity for both medicine and just for life skills as well. So
you guys are both fantastic. Thank you for speaking so eloquently, and I know you're both going to go on to be incredible doctors. So thanks for speaking to me today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.